kind of what I want to ask you about, Sam.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed listening to your stuff. I was only just today I've been exploring your Instagram a little bit anyways for a while, but only today did I find the post where you played some guitar with Cedar Dobson.
Oh yeah.
Do you do a lot of stuff like that? I guess this is my roundabout way of trying to dive in somehow. Like, what do you do? What's the stuff you like doing these days for music?
Sure. Well, it's funny how the Instagram just started out for me as a kind of a musical, like a sketchbook, I think. And I didn't really have any particular plan for it, but just kind of kept adding things. And so I live in Bellingham, Washington, and there's, a fair amount of local music here, and I play in some bands or sessions and that kind of thing. But I found that Instagram was this kind of reliable way of just getting music out and knowing that someone was hearing it. So it kind of evolved that way for a bit. And then it almost feels like some kind of trading card game at a certain point. If I can make a connection with someone, like, ooh, I got this person. they watched my thing, or they shared
like
it.
A trading card game. Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah,
that's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
A little bit of a side, way to just
like
keep
a
myself
gotta
entertained.
Catch 'em all thing.
Exactly right. Yeah. And yeah, so I just sometimes I'll send an invitation to somebody to say, hey, do you want to put something together? And it's so easy to do, to just kind of mush two videos. So that's where that little clip with Cedar came from.
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just let this conversation take us where it takes us.
Sure.
I'm with you, where the idea being that it's an easy thing to do these days, having these options of squishing videos together. However, how do you do that? Because there is some technical barrier to entry for some of us. We see these mashup videos and go, wow, that's so cool. I'd love to, get out a bout on drum or a whistle or something and join in with that person. How are people doing this? What's your approach?
Totally. And it's definitely been something that I felt has limited me a little bit. Just that there is so much technical hurdle to putting something together. And a lot of the easily accessible tools that I've found they're hard to use. Like, they're either really complicated or not complicated enough to kind of get the level that I'm looking for. So I started with acapella, which was kind of like the thing everyone was using during COVID to put things together. And that has worked pretty well. I find, though, that as I'm putting things together, I frequently switch between thinking this is just a sketch. It can be as hacky as it needs to be to just get something together and put it out there. And I'll do that for a little while, and then I'll start thinking, no, there's got to be a better way to do this. And maybe I need different software. I need better microphone, and I'll kind of swing to the other end of the pendulum and try to make it really, I guess I would say fancy, but I don't even know what that means. I'm not a video production person at all, so a lot of times I just kind of keep clicking things and turning knobs until it's doing what I want, and then think, well, there you go.
I wonder if it feels at all relatable, Sam. Do you feel like tell me how you feel like that, where that comes from. Do you feel like that's an internal swing in your own, like something about your personality that on a fortnightly basis you vacillate between being like, just get it out there versus I'm going to make this polished? Or is that like the subject matter at hand matters, where you're like, I really like this tune, so I want to do it really well, versus, or maybe even I'm so tired of trying, I'm going to switch my attitude to, it doesn't matter, I'm just getting it out there,
Yeah. I mean, I think in some ways it's just related to different feelings about like, why do I play music? Because it's not my day job. And it's something I just kind of struggle with in a pleasant way. The whole time I've been playing music, like, am I doing it for myself? Am I trying to put something together that people will like listening to? Do I even know who likes listening to this?
Yeah, it kind of goes out into the ether with the social media thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I've had to kind of deliberately not think too hard about what that means, because I realize there's a lot of images of me now playing the Irish tinwhistle, which really appeals to some people and maybe not others, and I have no idea who's forming an opinion of me based on
yeah. And let me say, most of the images, they look great. I'm also not a professional video guy, but like,
Sure.
it looks like you know what you're doing. You got some that are kind of fun that you're doing on purpose. I scrolled past one the other day where it looked like maybe you were just capturing like stills from 4-quadrant video feed.
Yes.
Where you just made
I know the one you're talking about.
Unflattering as you could make it.
Yes. There's a lot of funny things that happen before and after the good part. I think one of the videos I recorded, I think the volume was set too high, and I was frantically trying to turn it down, and ended up pushing the combination of buttons that calls 911 on my phone. And I think that's actually where some of those facial expressions came from, when I realized I was practicing music and might have an ambulance soon. So
that's pretty funny. So then yeah, sorry, I ask you for something and then I rip you off track there. Sorry about
no worries.
that.
All good.
Yeah, what do you think in terms of like what would be do you struggle with finding like an internal motivation and staying like keeping that locus of control internal? Do you find that you have to call yourself back to that periodically, or is it pretty easy to just do it because you love it?
I do love it. It is also I'll go kind of long periods without recording anything or putting anything up, and I think usually what I notice, sorry, there might be a train sound in the background.
It'll be nice ambience, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. A little old-timey quality.
Yeah.
I will notice that I haven't practiced in a while. Like, I'll get really focused on, like, is this a cool tune, a cool arrangement? Am I doing something unusual with it? And I think a lot of times what can kind of bring me back is like, well, yeah, but when was the last time I sat down with a metronome and played Morrison's jig at, really slow speed, and just like kind of remembered like, oh, right, the experience of making this music is why I'm doing this. It's not really about, where I put it ultimately. So
that's well put, though. It's about doing it, not where you put it. That's
yeah.
I don't know. I'm finding that very relatable. I've wondered to myself before, like, is there something going wrong when I find that when I sit down to make music, what I'm thinking of is which gimmick could I use to make a video out of this seem appealing and different or unique? And sometimes even like, which gimmick could I use to hide my self-conscious shortcomings when it comes to the actual music too,
Totally. Yeah, it's like the more, there's so many possibilities when you realize like, oh, okay, I could make a video. It can have 6 quadrants. I could add a harmonium if I could find one, all these things. But yeah, I think just like everything, it's kind of a cycle where I'll get really far into one way of doing it and then just be like, oh, okay, went a little far with this. Maybe the next one will just be a single track.
I don't know if there's a connection here, Sam, but I don't know about you, but I have maybe a lot of other people too I have tried and failed at so many systems for like organization in my life. Like I bought the bullet journal and filled it about halfway up. I paid for a year of Evernote and used it for 3 months, just about everything. And I feel like as long as I thought I needed to keep doing the thing that was in front of me forever, then the lifetime of my happiness was, the half-life, to use chemical words or something like that, right, was like, a quarter, like it was going to be like 3 months before I felt like a failure because I was not keeping up on that one thing very well. But if I can get myself to embrace the idea from the beginning that this is working for me for now, and then I'll try something different, well, that's a much more pleasant way to exist,
Totally. And that really is applied for me with the recording software or the gear that I have. I don't know, I'll get so bogged down in wondering, like, am I doing this right? Do I have the levels set in a certain way? And I don't even
Yeah.
necessarily know the theory behind a lot of it. But I'll sort of ask myself, like, well, but what is the goal? Like, if I know that I'm at least doing the thing I intend, it makes it easier to not get so fixated on, like, wait a minute, did I set that up right? Should the microphone have been closer? It's like, well, did it create something that I was interested in listening to? Then, yeah, it kind of makes it easier not to get so bogged down in those details.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So then with that in mind, I don't want to ask you like, what do you do to capture your recordings? Rather, what are some of the things you have done before? Maybe what are you excited about lately? What are some of the things you'd like to try? And, I'm
Yeah,
leaving that really open-ended, so I could get more narrow if you'd like, but I'm kind of curious about everything from software and microphones to
sure.
instruments and how to combine them, everything. Just let
Yeah.
it go. Tell me all about it.
Yeah. So I've kind of settled on a couple of tools that have consistently helped me do something I liked at this point. I just have what I think of as kind of like a fancy USB microphone. I just looked it up. I think it's called the Blue Yeti X,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
what we're talking on right now. And it's got a bunch of different modes, so I'm able to kind of do various things with it, use it for a lot of different things. And then to shoot a video, I just use my iPhone. And then a program called DaVinci Resolve is a free video editing suite that is way more complicated than I would ever need, but I have figured out how to do what I want with it. So
kind
it's
of
kind of
carved out
stable.
your own little corner. There we-
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I'm doing many things wrong, but it does work for me. And then, like, musically, I have been really interested lately in finding ways of adding electric guitar to
Oh,
the music that I play. So I play the Irish low whistles and high whistles, but I actually, for the longest time, have played guitar as like a backup accompanist.
that itself is kind of a fun thing where like it just speaks to like what our narrow understanding or the narrow view that we have of other humans informs what we're thinking, because like looking through your social media, I was always thinking to myself, well, this whistler is pretty good at guitar. And
Right.
if someone who knew you better might have been like, this guitar player
This
has
guitar.
done well with the whistle. So,
Yeah, it's so interesting to think about. Like, I don't even necessarily know how I would answer if someone's like, which one is your main thing? It's
yeah,
just kind of like,
yeah.
well, I use them for different things. And yeah, it has been handy to be able to do both, so I can kind of
Yeah.
put together a band of myselves.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was maybe 2 years ago now, I came across this album by a fiddle player named Sam Sweeney, who I had somehow never heard of before. I think it was YouTube, I encountered one of his videos, and there is an electric guitar in a lot of those recordings, and I was just enchanted by the way that like a really clean electric guitar sound can add space to a recording. So hardly any effects at all, but just like a nice kind of reverby sound. So I had to, go out and get one, which I did. And it's just such a different way of thinking about traditional music because so many different traditional instruments I think of as having a percussive element to them, even if it's a fiddle or flute, there's this
Yeah. That's a
way
good
of
point.
filling space that's very percussive.
Yeah.
And electric guitars just couldn't be less percussive,
Yeah.
at least the way I've been playing it. So trying to figure out how to integrate that in a way that doesn't sound fake or cheesy has been quite hard, but when it works, I think it's really cool. So.
Yeah. Well, shoot, if you don't mind it, I thought maybe this would be fun in post. Maybe I could pull in audio from a video that you put up on Instagram a little while ago, where it's got. I don't know if you'll remember what tune it was. It was two feeds of you on acoustic guitar, one of you on whistle, and one of you on electric guitar.
Oh yeah.
when Lunasa was heading up to your part of the
Yes.
woods. You
Yes.
remember what was being
Yeah.
played there? Maybe we could pull some audio from it.
Yeah, that tune is, I believe it's called Elizabeth Kelly's Delight. And that's one that they did years ago on one of their albums. And yeah.
Well, if I may say so, without making you feel too uncomfortable from praise, you're figuring it out. That sounded really good. I felt like that
Thank
was
you.
beautiful application of electric guitar in trad music.
Yeah, thanks so much.
So when, like, I kind of want to, as long as you're okay with it, kind of push you into like getting real specific with me here. Just because I'm imagining, like, I look at your videos and I think I'd like to be able to make stuff like that, you know. So maybe this is just me, but I bet there are other people too. So like, USB mic, check, got it, man.
Yep.
I've got the Blue Snowball, right? So I'm right there with
there you
you. You know, very similar mic. Mobile phone, check. You know, most of us have one of those available. That's great. Free software, you are like you're laying it out for me. This is great. So DaVinci Resolve, awesome. So I've got this toolkit.
Yeah.
Are you recording your audio like separately from the video and then syncing it up in the software afterward, or are you plugging your mic into your phone somehow, or how does that all happen?
That is the big question that I totally forgot about, and probably the one that I've spent the most time waffling on. Because, yeah, again, it just kind of gets to the question of like, what is the purpose? Is it supposed to look good? Is it supposed to sound good? Is it supposed to just mark like, hey, I learned a tune and I wanted some other people to hear it?
Yeah. Somebody clap for me.
Exactly. Which really, that's kind of what it is a lot of the time, to be honest. So in the very beginning, when I was just using a cappella, that was the easiest way I could find to sync up the audio automatically with the video I was taking. And the only thing I didn't like as much was that I couldn't use... So I use GarageBand for audio stuff, just Apple's product. And I wasn't able to use any of that stuff with a cappella. And I must have searched for hours trying to find some desktop version that would work like a cappella, because I really... it was very important for me to take that step out, because the syncing up of a high quality audio with a video was just kind of like, it's just like sucking the life out of this whole process for me. And I would find things kind of misaligned and weird. So
I'd imagine that you're watching your own fingers really closely and noticing that didn't line up quite right.
Yeah, exactly. And before you know it, I'm just focusing on that, and it kind of I lose the performance of it. So I'm trying to think where some of them I have just recorded entirely separately with no video, just made the audio track the way I liked in GarageBand, and then faked a video, basically. Yeah. Just as
there's no shame in this, Sam. It's freeing, really, to know that other people are doing this. Like, oh, totally. Good, I'm not the only one with a dirty secret.
Yep, I'm just going to be honest. So yeah, some of them are totally fake, and in that way, I was thinking of the video just as like a marker, like it's a way of saying, hey, this happened, and I put it on the internet.
Right.
Nothing more.
Look, platforms like Instagram, like you have to have some kind of visual thing. You can't just upload an audio file. So why not have it be you playing the thing? Why not?
Yep. I even thought at one point about making an illustration. I'm a graphic artist as my day job, so
that's
just drawing,
cool. Jeez.
And then putting
Sam, you're making me want to be you even more all the time.
Hey, that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, an illustration, huh? That sounds like a very cool idea.
Yeah, so I was thinking, like, could I take a video of myself playing one of the parts? Just like I was looking for ways honestly to cut the corners, so I would do it more. I think that was the
Mm.
thing. Like if I can find a easier way to do it, it
Yeah, that
kind of
whole
lowers that gate.
yeah, make it easy to do, reduce friction, all that.
Yeah. So the the one I've been doing, or the approach I've been doing most consistently, has been to, yeah, basically to get that audio track the way I want, because that has allowed me to do multiple takes and do little edits, and just, when I'm thinking at the end of the day, I'm focusing on, does the audio sound good?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then I will just listen to it and take videos of me kind of roughly playing the parts
Yeah.
and put them together.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it works well, and honestly too, Sam. The other way that like as a viewer, right? Me as a consumer of what you're putting out into the world,
Yeah.
I also I really like the idea of illustration. So I'm not trying to
Oh, yeah.
discourage you from doing that. I love animation in general and
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. I just think it's so cool. So, so with that aside though, I definitely like your videos and anything like this on the internet. I'm definitely one to be looking at the fingers while somebody's playing. Not because I'm
Yes.
judging them, it's because I'm curious, and if I'm
Yes.
thinking to myself, like, I want to learn that tune, it's very helpful to see what you're playing.
Yeah.
So even if you are,
Yeah.
air quotes, faking it, I think it's
Right.
okay.
Yes. You still get the basic idea.
Yeah.
I have friends who are more technically inclined with audio software and processes, and I've heard there are like some broadcast industry tools out there that are kind of designed for doing this kind of thing. And I've been assured that there are better and easier ways to do it than what I'm doing. Just don't know what they are yet. So there's some hope for us out there somewhere. There's a way to
Yeah.
make these easier.
As long as we're talking about the process of stuff too, what about the videos that you do where you'll pull, like that one with Cedar Dobson, where you pull someone else playing something? I mean, that sounded great together. You could have been sitting in the same room. It was so well synced. So how did you pull that off?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm trying to remember with that one. I think I, yeah, I think Cedar just sent a video that already had the high quality audio attached to it. So I was able to just take the audio track out, or take it, kind of isolate it, and play it through my phone with just I think I had little AirPods or something, so I could, or no, just regular headphones, just to hear what she was playing.
Sure, yeah.
And I had her audio as one track in GarageBand, so I was able to just hit record and start hearing that and play to it.
Play along, huh?
And
then just kind of slide it around till it matched up later.
Yep, that's right. For my video, I had to. It's kind of funny because there's a quick moment in those videos before the music starts, so I had to clap and then rush into position.
So gotcha.
Some of these videos start with me looking a little bit like I just dropped into the seat, and it is because I did. Just rushing across the room to make sure I'm there in time.
That's fun though.
Yeah.
So now, Sam, kind of that stuff's all interesting, and if you think of more tips and tricks, I want to hear them as we go along. But
Sure.
I would love kind of like a biopic of you, like guitar
Yeah.
and whistles, and also animation or illustration, art in general. Where does all this
Yeah.
stuff start? Were you an art kid from the beginning, or did you have to
Yeah.
rebel against a football coach of a dad and insist, no, I'm gonna make music?
No, actually, my dad was also a graphic designer, so it was an easy jump to make. We always had mostly just art stuff, digital art, and illustration stuff kind of going on in the house when I was young, and not a whole lot of music. We had some recorded music. Just kind of, I think when I was really little, I might have heard some kind of new age Celtic stuff on a record player, and being 3 years old, thought, this is great. But I kind of discovered traditional music a little bit by accident. I think when I was in 6th grade, I had an assignment to build a musical instrument.
Oh, wow.
And I think a lot of the other kids in the class kind of disregarded it, but me and one other guy took it very seriously, and we were like, we're gonna do this. I got a book about building musical instruments and kind of flipped through it and thought, okay, everything in here is way too hard, except for a flute, because you could just go out and buy plumbing pipe and cork the end and drill some holes, and so I did this and made myself a flute, and then realized, oh, I don't know how to play this. So I kind of set about, figuring out, and this would have been like a side blown flute with just a plain hole. Yeah. So I got into pennywhistles a little bit later, but this was just a regular, it was actually quite similar to like a Irish 6-hole flute.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wooden flute. Yeah. And so I kind of got a handle on making sound, and then thought, okay, well, I've got that part solved, but I don't actually know what kind of music you play on a flute like this.
Yeah.
And the answer from my minimal research in 6th grade was pretty clearly Irish music.
Huh. And had you been following a guide that was precise enough that those holes were about the right size and about the right distance, or was it like you just guessed?
They, in fact, were... they were correct, and so that helped a lot, because the result actually sounded sort of musical.
Yeah.
But I remember there was some kind of web page that I managed to find where you could input the length of the flute you wanted to make, and it would tell you where to put the holes. Some very basic
but that's a
programming
cool tool,
thing.
too. Yeah.
So I was able to make different sizes, and I don't know. Somehow at that age, I had this idea that was what was going to really distinguish me amongst 6th graders.
That's
my
great.
ability to build flutes.
What an enterprising young man you were. Yeah. Building. So you didn't just make the one and go, that was fun. It was, I'm going to make more.
No, it became a thing.
Different keys, different lengths.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So...
do you have any of those flutes floating around still? Just like for memory's
I think I got
sake?
rid of the last one. It was one of those things where at one point you use it to like hold a window open, and then you kind of get sick of that. Eventually, they're all gone.
There's going to be someone out there though who like went to middle school with you who's going to be like, I still have that flute that that little Sammy made, and
yeah. So it was kind of a haphazard like exploration. I don't, to my knowledge, have any Irish heritage, so I didn't really have a connection to the music that way.
Mm-hmm.
But once I started kind of looking up recordings, and I think I was lucky enough to find Lunasa as one of the first Irish recordings.
You found a good one.
Found a good one.
Yeah.
And just really fell in love with the... I find like Irish traditional music so interesting because there are so many notes, but there's so much rhythm and kind of themes that emerge over the tops of all the notes. And there was something about the way it was so kind of logical and rhythmic that I was like, oh, well, I guess this is my thing.
This is me now.
Yep.
That's interesting. I think that I definitely think to myself, maybe I should say daydream about like what would it be like if I'd been, born in an Irish cottage where my grandfather was always in the corner playing traditional tunes on the fiddle, and that was how I'd grown up, kind of thing, and I still think that would be lovely. But I think it's fun hearing stories like what you just shared, where a person can remember when they first encountered it, and getting to kind of hear what was it that affected them, how did it land, that kind of thing. I think it's really fun.
Absolutely.
And did you know how to read music and things like that at that point? So when you made these flutes, you had an idea of what was coming out, or was that all happening at the same time? Like you had to learn what it meant to play a certain note?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. I had piano training at that point. And so I think in some ways I really fell in love with the size of an Irish flute or whistle, because it was much more portable than a piano. So I did have a little bit of musical training, so I kind of knew what I was going for, but I think the lack of formal structure to it really appealed to me. It was kind of like I was rebelling against the piano lessons. And I also think that for me, playing piano was such a solitary thing, which kind of felt strange to go off into another room and play a piano. Kind of separated me from everybody else.
Mm.
And it was that way too. If you want to perform piano, at least at that age, like at that time, that would mean a recital, which again was like a solo operation.
Right. Yeah.
And I was really, I don't know if I knew this at the time, but looking back, I think I was really drawn to the idea that, the music can be casual, it can be very social. It's kind of a performance, but it's not explicitly that. And it took me a really long time, actually many years, before I found people, to get to a level where I could play with other people. But I realize now, like, oh, that was what was driving me, is I wanted music to be a thing that you do with your friends. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like that's relatable.
yeah.
And so did you ever go a long period without a whistle or flute in your hands from then on, or has it just been more and more all the time ever since?
Oh, that's another really good question, because it was, I considered it my main instrument for, when I was younger, like middle school, high school. I think there was a period where I started to wonder, is this as cool as I think it is? Sort of watching
The
people's
doubts
reaction.
crept in, eh?
The doubts crept in. So there was a little bit of that. But I guess the main thing was that I started living in apartments and started getting kind of self-conscious about practicing the louder instruments. So I picked up the mandolin, which that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Playing the mandolin is a thing, very quiet by comparison. So it was easier to practice that indoors.
My impression too, and I should probably try not take advantage of every opportunity to make a tuning joke, but
Right.
Mandolins are great if you love tuning, right?
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about making a lot of noise from playing too much because you'd spend all your time tuning it, right?
Exactly. There's the mandolin is a wonderful series of compromises. I love it as an instrument, but it is challenging. But I kind of went all the way until like the last couple of years. I think it was during COVID. For some reason, I just got kind of obsessed with the whistle again. I don't know quite where it came from, but it was doing something for me that I hadn't needed for a while, I guess, and just got back into it. And that has been an interesting process of kind of relearning a lot of things that I thought I knew. Turns out when 13-year-old boys think they know things, takes a little while for them to realize there's a little bit more going on.
Man. Yeah. The collective facepalm, man. Yeah. I was one of those. Yeah, I hear you.
Some of us have been there.
I might still be in some ways. I'd rather not think about it, honestly. Too many rude awakenings already.
Yes, I had one very humbling lesson a couple of years ago on the low whistle, and I realized just how many things I had skipped. But it was good to get that out of the way. I was very grateful for it because it helped me straighten a lot of things out.
Now, as I scroll through your Instagram, I see a fair number of whistles here. How quickly and how alarmingly did your whistle budget balloon when you got into it again?
Yeah, I think, one thing that had been protecting me from acquiring so many whistles was I had always thought that they were harder to get than they are, especially Goldies. Which I had always sort of dreamed of Goldie whistles all the way back from listening to Lunasa and kind of hearing some of those low whistles. And just always assumed they were really, really hard to get. And they can be, but they're also, like, if you put a little time into it, they can be found.
Yeah.
And once I realized that they were actually not that hard to find.
You found them all?
I found as many. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So I think I had to try a couple different varieties because they are all quite different in how air, moves through them.
Yeah.
But I really have settled, especially for low whistles, on the Goldie design. And I think if I wish I had a graph that would chart my whistle purchases and returns over the last couple of years, because it has slowed down after realizing that Goldie design, I think it just works for me, and I've tried a bunch of other things and I can't get them to work. So
Yeah. So I'm going to maybe force you to imagine breaking your heart a little bit here, but I'm curious, like desert island situation, right?
mm-hmm.
You can only take one instrument, only one. And I don't mean like if you say whistle, you can take a whole range of whistles.
Right.
Like you got to pick a specific
Physical
thing.
object.
Yeah. What's it going to be? What do you take with you?
It's actually, I've thought about this perhaps more than is healthy for some reason, thinking about if I needed one instrument, what would I do?
Yeah.
I think of a whistle. It's so easy to carry around, and to choose the key, I would try to sort of balance the spectrum a little bit. So I'd probably go straight for a B flat.
Yeah.
I don't know how many other people there are in the world who can pick a key of tin whistle for their desert island stranding, but I'm one of them.
It would be a B flat for you. Would it be a Goldie specifically?
It would indeed.
Yeah. Well, now we know.
Now we know.
So then when you first started getting into it, when you first started like coming home with, I'm imagining, don't ruin the vision that I have in my mind. I'm imagining young Sam coming home through the door unannounced, like parents having no idea what's going to happen. He's just got arms full of like PVC pipe and headed off to his room, and there's just sounds of tinkering and hammering away up there, and kids showing up at the door with cash. Perfect.
Yes, this is real.
When this all started happening, like, what did the family think? And like, were you also bringing like Chieftains albums into the house and being like, listen to this, and how was it received?
Yeah, no, this is eerie. You're just literally.
It's like I was there.
It's like you were there. Yeah, no, I think it was my dad who found the Lunasa album. He's always been a great supporter of the music, and he kind of went out and found a couple things and brought them back. And I was like, I think I found some Irish music. I think one of the other ones that was part of that first little batch of CDs was Joe McKenna, I think, has an album that's just called The Irish Low Whistle. Fantastic album. It's got a bunch of players on there that if you follow each one of them, you find more good stuff. So that was, definitely an early inspiration. And I spent a lot of time in the garage. It kind of became like a workshop. Like we had a workbench out there. I was making flutes. And, I'm sure anyone who practices, especially traditional music, or really any kind of music at all, it's always a challenge to find somewhere to practice where you feel like really no one is listening, because it affects how you think about it so much.
Hey, I cut my teeth largely on the Highland bagpipes. I hear you there, man.
Yeah, hard to find those places on Earth where really no one can hear that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, finding practice space.
And it sounds like your family was certainly supportive.
Yes.
But like, were you getting other people into this? Was it kind of like, sweetie, we love you, go do it in the garage? Like that's enough for today? Or
yes, I will say in their defense, I don't think anyone ever told me that I should be in the garage, but I sort of
for them.
did it for their benefit, took the lead on that one.
And good for you then. Way to be aware.
Yep. Yes.
What about these days? Who gets to hear you playing, or who do you have? Who do you spare? If it's getting hard for them, is this what you lead with at every company meeting and party? Like, hey, I'm Sam. I play the Irish flute or the Irish whistle. Or
in my line of work, I tend to keep it somewhat hidden. But I recently have been renting some practice space, which has been really nice.
Oh, fun!
You just kind of go, and it's a place devoted to people kind of hiding out in soundproof rooms, and because practice, people think, oh, how great it would be to hear a practicing musician, but really when you hear real practicing, it's not the same. So.
Yeah, surely it'll vary from person to person and application to application, but I think probably elements of monotony and
yes,
and tuning and things like that are going to be common across all. Yeah,
for sure.
So you got into the traditional stuff, and you got a hold of some of the real good traditional records and such. But what about experimentation like this electric guitar stuff you've been trying? I know I saw a video of you with a Shruti box too. Are you a fusion guy? Is this a more recent development? How do you feel about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a recent exploration, and I have been listening to a lot of different types of more kind of modern, I guess, adaptations of traditional music. Because I'll listen to something and just try to see, what is my reaction to this? Do I think it's cool, but I'm embarrassed that I think it's cool? Or do I really just, can't stand it? And just try to figure out, like, what elements of the reimagining am I reacting to, and, like, what about it? So just kind of doing some research that way.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that's helped me, or maybe guided some of the choices that I try to make, is I really do like introducing odd things into, playing with pedals, or like octave pedal. It's such a common thing these days for traditional guitar players to have some kind of octave pedal to add bass. And I try to think, is this thing I'm adding mimicking like a role? Like, I try to think about it in terms of a role or a job in the music. And if it's sort of mimicking something that was already there, like a drone on the pipes, then I think, okay, maybe this has a place. Maybe I probably have to try a bunch of things to get it right. But if it's doing a job that was already there, then I tend to think, this is worth trying. If it's adding something that just was not there in any way in kind of in the tradition, then I think, this is careful territory to explore.
Yeah, I got you. Something to try in your private practice space, right?
Exactly right.
Do you feel like when you're playing, you play with some groups there locally, right?
Yeah.
Is that somewhere that you get a little wild and wacky, or I guess really, what are you playing these days with such groups? Lots of mandolin, lots of whistle. How does that come out?
I've gone mostly whistle because I just found myself jealous of fiddle players, because they have a nice little box that they take their instrument around in, and they have one. Well, I have about 12, but they all fit into a fiddle-sized box. So
right, yes, yeah.
Just got my little box, and I really do enjoy session playing, and so there's a couple of those locally here that I'll go to. And then the other thing that has totally caught me by surprise in the last few years has been that playing music for contradance has really, cool. It's almost become kind of my main thing. And I don't have any background as a dancer in the contradance scene, but they always need live bands. And it's just been interesting how that format has been really satisfying for me. It kind of checks the boxes. Like, I get to go out, I get to take some music gear with me, I have a set list, but it's minus some of the things that I'm just not super interested in about gigging. Like, for one thing, finding the gigs. And
the business side of that.
The business side and bantering in between songs is just not a thing I do.
Some of us were born with a gift, and I've heard some musicians banter that I've honestly thought, like, they're so good at bantering, like that should be their main thing. Honestly,
absolutely,
some people are real good at that. But not all of us have that skill.
That's one of my blind spots.
Have you ever felt like this is me speaking very ignorantly from the desert middle of the United States here, right? I don't know any of these coastal places really,
Hmm.
you know. But when I think of Bellingham, I can imagine like is it like bizarro Cape Breton, like everything just flipped the other way around? You mentioned Contredanse, you know, and like or is
Right.
this like the Orkney Islands but shifted over almost a hemisphere, you know? Like is there a
Yeah.
feeling of that kind of culture going on there? Or what is it like to be playing in that scene in that place?
That's interesting. I feel like I haven't quite done enough traveling to know quite, where it fits in terms
Mhm.
of the feeling. I have been to Ireland a few times, and there are definitely parts of Ireland that where Bellingham kind of, we have a fair amount of rain and fog and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. It all depends on what direction you're looking. So,
Gotcha, yeah.
um, but yeah, musically, I think Bellingham has probably proportionally a little bit more music, certainly fiddle music going on than one might expect for where it is.
Mm.
We're all pretty close to Seattle, so a lot of times I'll go down and catch some tunes down there.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's a number of music festivals that go on around here, and those also are great time to get out and play.
So then when you're playing in sessions, I'm curious. I'm a little bit. I'm gonna tell you the truth, Sam. I
Mm.
still haven't played in a session.
Ah,
I'm on the email list for a local
yes.
session, and
Mm-hmm.
I have the King Street tune book that they play from, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing through tunes there. I keep trying to build up the I don't know, the gumption or the bravado or whatever it is that it takes to actually go. But
Yeah.
and like I've got friends who are talking about sessions all the time. So like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of have an idea of what's going on there, but I'm kind of scared to do it.
Yeah.
What's it like the first time?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Um, what was my first? I'm actually my one of my first sessions could actually have been like an old time jam, which I'm
Oh,
sure they
sure.
have their own
Well,
set of
that's actually
customs.
good point. Like
Yeah.
there are different kinds of sessions, and
Right.
surely like one to the other, things are going to be different, of course. So,
Yeah. And
not speaking for all sessions in the entire
oh
world,
yeah,
of course. No pressure to do that.
sure. I mean, my friends and I talk quite a bit about sessions and about the way that, because everybody is sort of united in their desire to get out and play with
Hmm.
other people and for other people. And it's just such an interesting subject because at least in my experience, I feel like there's always an element of kind of performance or artificialness to a session where I think, and maybe speaking a little critically here, but
Hmm.
the impression that people want to give is that it is very casual.
Yeah.
And certainly people walking into a bar and seeing this happen, usually from what I've seen, the thing they're most impressed by is the appearance that this just happened.
Yeah.
And I think that can be a super intimidating thing for someone new, or even someone who's just like, hey, I've never been to this session before. How does this one work?
Mm.
To see it and think, am I the only one who doesn't get it? How does everyone else know what's going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like the more I do it, the more I realize there isn't a magic way to know.
Mm.
It's just, you know, you, people who know each other's tunes, and they'll sit down and appear to just start playing, but it's because they've done it 50 times before.
Mm. Yeah.
So I think that's something I try to keep in mind as I'm sort of moving from session to session, is the ones that look like everything is super smooth is at least one of the possibilities is that everyone knows each other and they've worked
Mm.
a
Yeah.
lot of this out just by doing it a million times. So
Well, that is somewhat encouraging. I have heard there's a session not far from me that's like a slow session, like
yeah,
specifically that's the label on it, and I have thought maybe that's my in, you know. I don't feel more comfortable going to that.
yeah, I do. I also, um, I sometimes some sessions that I see are organized a little bit in like concentric rings. I remember I saw a couple in Ireland that worked that way, and I really liked that kind of way of doing it because the people in the very center were sort of the hot shots. and they were playing 1,000,000 miles an hour. And then people would kind of arrange themselves outwards in terms of how comfortable they felt being in that space. And so on the very outskirts were people who were like, well, I'm holding this instrument, and that's about all I can do today. And there was no shame in that. Like, it was super cool that they were there and they were kind of getting to witness the whole spectacle. So
that's maybe even more the thing for me, honestly. Let's
if
grab
you
a
can
whistle
find
and
one
go
of those,
sit in the corner and hold it for a bit.
I want to find one of those. I think it's great to be able to kind of move in and out according to what you happen to feel like doing that day.
Yeah. Now, aside from like recording for like social media where there's a video component, I thought that the tracks you have on Bandcamp are lovely.
Thank you.
How did those come together? Was it a different recording situation, or did these happen at home with the Blue Yeti, or what was your approach with this recording, where it's audio exclusively?
Yeah, so for those, I decided to work with a friend of mine who does that kind of thing more professionally, and I wanted the experience of not having to think about how to make it happen. I just kind of wanted to play, and also I was interested in working the electric guitar in, and so I picked somebody who had just a lot of experience with a lot of different types of music, because I was really curious to see like what his take on working an electric instrument into low whistle guitar might be like. And I think it was just a way, like those sets were ones that I had played 1,000,000 times at that point and thought, okay, this is starting to be, these are kind of some of my go-to sets of tunes. And just wanted to put them down on some kind of recorded format, just as a little bit of a time capsule or a placeholder, because I would love to do an actual album at some point, but I didn't quite have enough material at that point.
My impression is that at least for some artists, it's a decade or so of like singles and stuff like that, and then you bundle those together into an album. So maybe you're on your way, man.
Absolutely.
Again, I really enjoyed talking with Sam, and I hope you enjoyed listening to the conversation and listening to Sam's awesome music. Check out the show notes for links to Sam's work, and I'm going to give away a copy of Sam's little album. I guess there's only a couple tracks on it, but they're lovely tracks. We're going to give a copy of it away via Bandcamp to a show supporter. If you want to support the show, hop on down to the show notes and check out some ways to do so. We take cash, we take precious jewels, we take discarded bagpipe parts. Anyway, let's see who won here. So 10, that's going to be Carol B. Gonna be Carol B. Thank you so much, Carol, for supporting the show, and to everybody else who's been supporting the show. Really appreciate it. And hope you have a lovely day, lovely evening, lovely weekend, whatever it is you're working on right now. Thanks again to Sam. It's been a long time since we chatted, actually. It was a long runway to get this one ready and released. So thank you again, Sam.